Hello, I'm Pam Carruthers of HealingStars.com. This is the chart, the new moon on the 5th of April 2019. It's set for London and it occurs at 9:50 British Summer Time. This is the first new moon in the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. Springtime, Aries, all those bulbs bursting through the ground, initiation, beginnings, the pioneer energy. That's all to do with Aries. Just think of the symbol, the ram, with those horns, the head. It governs the head, Aries. Now, Aries in turn is governed, the planet is Mars. And here is Mars, just recently moved into the sign of Gemini. Mars takes about 6 weeks to go through a sign. So it's been going through the fixed sign of Taurus, also known as being quite stubborn. But now it's mutable. So there's an adjustment of flexibility when signs are in the planets rather in the mutable signs. And that also, if you look up, here's Venus. Venus, Neptune, Mercury. Pisces is also mutable, and so is the sign of Sagittarius, all of which have planets in them. Now, Mercury's been going retrograde. It wasn't forever, but it felt like it, 23 days. And it's still very close to Neptune. And when Mercury and Neptune come together, we really can't see what's going on. It's more about being in a fog. If you've ever been in a fog, you know you just have to sense your way through it. So you have to trust your instincts. And Neptune, god of the ocean, the sea, in Pisces is a long, long transit. But every year, Mercury and every year, Venus will also travel through Pisces. But this year it's been intense because Mercury's gone retrograde. Now, Mercury is a very important planet at the moment, although it's a tiny little planet, because it's all about communication and reaching agreements. And you only have to watch what's happening in the UK with Brexit to know how really difficult that has been. And I don't see it really resolving until Mercury moves into Aries. That will be a big shift. And that will occur that shift on the 17th of April. Meanwhile, let's have a look. We have Venus in her own sign, exalted rather, should we say, in Pisces. Venus is the goddess. In Pisces, she's the goddess such as Kuan Yin or Maya, is very beautiful, Mother Mary, very spiritual energy, very compassionate, and very much the higher vibration is called when Venus is in Pisces. It's spiritual. And Venus, if you notice, is also very close to Neptune. Venus will join Neptune on the 10th of April. The 10th of April is a big date. The reason being, Venus will join Neptune, the Sun will be then at a right angle to Saturn, Jupiter goes retrograde, and Mercury makes a positive connection to a sextile to Pluto. That is a big event, all of those things happening on one day. Jupiter is the law. Here it is in Sagittarius. It represents truth and justice. And Mercury, as you can see, at a right angle, is really not easy to find that common ground of justice and the truth. What is it? We don't know, because Mercury is obscured by its connection to dreamy Neptune. Venus joins Neptune, and then Venus will also sextile Saturn. That's on the 12th. It will also then sextile Pluto on the 15th, and eventually on the 16th, rather, it will square Jupiter. So if you are a Pisces, a Sagittarian, a Gemini, you've got a lot of action happening this month, a huge amount. And it is about keeping that groundedness, which is there in the signs of Capricorn, Saturn, South Node, Pluto. A little word I'm going to mention here about whenever the nodes of the moon are activated, as they are right now. Saturn as the south node, Pluto with the south node, is talking about, in astrology, some sort of power struggle, superiority, buried power in other lifetimes. And really, we are all part of history, each and every one of us. So if this is activating your chart, you could be going through a pretty tough time at this moment. So I really do feel for you. Now, Saturn is in its own sign, Capricorn. That's good, as long as you don't rush into things. And that's true for everyone this month, these first 2 weeks, the new moon. Because Mars is impulsive in Gemini, you could, rush in and do something that you regret later. The other important, I mentioned it briefly, but Jupiter going retrograde. All planets go retrograde every year, apart from the Sun and the Moon. Venus is about 18 months and Mars every 2 and a bit years. So Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, Chiron, they all go retrograde this year. But the first is Jupiter. So this is also, if you are going to launch anything, and you can, it'd be quite useful to launch before Jupiter goes retrograde. However, other factors come into play. And I offer a service called Launch with the Stars. And in that, I use Vedic astrology, Jyotish, because I find the actual constellations where planets are traveling to be more accurate in electing a really good date and time. There is one good date this month, but there is a fantastic date in May. So if you're interested in launching something, please contact me at healingstars.com. It depends on not just the day, but the time of day is also incredibly crucial. And of course, depends on where you live. If you live in America, if you live in Australia, your time zone is different. And of course, you wouldn't really want to launch anything in the middle of the night. Just saying. Okay, so here we have emotional new moon. Chiron now is in Aries, along with the Sun and Moon. Mars, flexible, but also remember the Gemini shadow is the trickster. And remember, Pisces can be caught in sacrifice, being a martyr, feeling overwhelmed, out of your depth. There's lots of deep emotions, I believe, arising at this new moon. Thank you for watching. Carruthers, healingstars.com.